Thank you very much. Tuesday is time for Pet Talk here on CTV Morning Live, and this morning we are wading into the world of pet food. After some serious pet food recalls several years ago, you may remember, pet owners became keenly aware of the importance of knowing more about what they feed their furry companions. And at the same time, the market exploded with so many new options that finding the right food became an even more daunting task. So we're getting a little Pet Food 101 today with Lisa Morant of Global Pet Foods in Halifax. Good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So here's the thing. You walk in as a pet owner to, a store like Global, and there is so much food. Where do you start as a pet owner?
Well, the first thing you need to do when looking at your pet's food is go past all of the marketing on the front of the bag.
Okay.
The only way you're going to know what's actually in your food is to flip that bag over and read the ingredient deck. That's the only way you know what's in that bag.
Okay, so what are you looking for?
Well, the ingredients are listed in order by weight. So your first 5 ingredients are really forming the basis of your food. So if you want to keep it simple, just take a look at those first 5 ingredients. Ideally, you want to be able to recognize what they all are. We want to be feeding our dogs and cats a meat-based diet, so your first ingredient should always be a named protein source. So you don't want
Like
to see
chicken.
Yes, exactly. You want to avoid terms like poultry, because that's really vague and you don't really know what they're putting in there. You want something chicken. Chicken meal, you don't have to be afraid of the word meal. It just means that they've already taken out the water and fat, so it's a more concentrated protein source.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I was going to ask, what does meal mean? That's what it means.
So you don't want byproduct meal, but chicken meal, or they might be using fresh chicken. That first ingredient should be meat. Now, your next ingredients, for instance, you might have meat as the first ingredient, but if your next 4 ingredients are all grains, then really you're feeding a grain-based food.
Okay.
Because they add up to more than the meat.
Okay.
So something to be aware of, but those first 5 ingredients are going to give you a really good idea of the overall quality of the food.
So sometimes I see foods that have like a meat and then there's some vegetables.
Yep.
Do we need vegetables?
Well, a lot of foods now incorporate fruits and vegetables in the food. I mean, it's basically a whole food source of vitamins, antioxidants, all the reasons that those foods are good for us are good for our animals too.
So that's okay.
Absolutely.
What about how much grain should you have in a food?
Well, some animals do better with no grains in their diet. Some do better with grains. You just have to be aware you don't want the basis of your food to be grains, and you want to be using high quality grains.
So if I'm looking at, say, 2 foods for my dog, how do I compare the 2 foods and know which one is better?
Well, if you're looking at the ingredients and they seem very similar, the next thing you can look at is the feeding guidelines. If they seem like the ingredients are the same, but one is recommending you feed twice as much, perhaps that bag is less expensive, but if you're feeding twice as much, you're not really gaining anything, and you're probably going to be picking up a lot more poop.
Right.
Which isn't good for anybody.
True. Okay, good point.
So the feeding guidelines are going to give you an idea of how calorie dense that food is. Some of the things that you don't necessarily see on the bag are the meat content. So although meat is the first 1, 2, 3 ingredients, it doesn't actually tell you how much meat is in it. So that might account for a price difference.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing you're not going to be able to read on the bag is the quality of the ingredients. So, for instance, there are 23 different grades of chicken, all listed as chicken. So, at the end of the day, you get what you pay for. Quality ingredients are going to cost
so
more.
higher price, maybe a better grade of chicken type thing.
Yeah, not saying that you have to buy the most expensive food, but there generally is a reason for the price difference.
Right, good to know. And quick last question, because I know as you get further down on the list, you'll see things like magnesium and all this kind of thing. Is that stuff scary or is that good?
No, they have to include all the vitamins and minerals to make it a balanced diet. So as you get to the bottom, you're going to see a lot of minerals, you're going to see probiotics, you're going to see different vitamins that aren't necessarily going to be words you recognize, but they all need to be in there to make a balanced diet.
Excellent. Well, when in doubt, ask for help, because there's usually someone standing by who can help you out at Global Pet Foods.
Absolutely. Come in. We can talk to you about your own personal pet's needs, your personal preferences, and narrow down your options for you so you get something that works for your individual dog.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to ask, because it can be a lot. Thank you so much for this.
You're welcome.
A great primer on pet food. Now let's go over to Cyril, who's standing by with one of our community correspondents. Cyril.